Hi, I'm really pleased that you are considering studying psychology, and I hope in this overview you learn that psychology is not only a fascinating subject, but is also highly useful for many chosen university courses and careers. In this overview, you will gain a snapshot of the topics we cover, how it is assessed, and where it can lead to in terms of university subjects and future careers. There are 3 psychology teachers who all teach A-level psychology. I am Miss Caton, Head of Psychology, and we also have Mrs Walsh and Mrs Berry. All 3 of us are passionate about our subject and highly experienced and long-standing teachers. If you choose to study psychology, you will have 9 lessons per fortnight and will be taught by 2 of the psychology team. It doesn't matter which teachers you have, as with our wealth of subject knowledge and experience, you can guarantee you will be in safe hands. So what actually is psychology? Well, psychology is the science of the mind and behaviour. This means we use a range of scientific methods such as lab experiments and controlled observations to study people to gain scientific evidence about why people think and behave the way they do. To some extent, we are all psychologists, so we are fascinated by and have an opinion on the causes of people's behaviour. The only difference is that psychology is backed up by research evidence. In psychology, there are lots of contrasting approaches to human behaviour, from the biological approach, which believes that behaviour is very much controlled by inherited characteristics, to behaviourists who believe that all our behaviour is learnt. There are 6 key approaches in psychology, and you will learn about each one and apply the theories to various topics. For example, the biological approach focuses on the brain and which parts of the brain control what. For example, we now know that emotion is controlled by the frontal lobe. We study subjects such as forensic psychology and consider different explanations for why people commit crime and the subsequent ways of dealing with offenders. In social psychology, we investigate topics such as obedience and why humans can be blindly obedient to destructive authority, such as in Nazi Germany during World War II. If you have an interest in what makes people tick, then psychology is probably the subject for you. So what do we actually study then? In Year 12, you will study Paper 1 and Paper 2. I'm going to start by talking to you about Paper 2 first of all. So in Paper 2, you will learn about the 6 key approaches, their beliefs on human behaviour, and how they study humans. In research methods, you will learn all about how psychologists study humans, from scientific methods such as lab experiments to non-scientific methods such as interviews. As we need to understand a person's biology in psychology to understand their behaviour, the biopsychology module will provide you with the biological content you need for the rest of the course. There are a range of fascinating topics that we study on Paper 1, and all of these topics are designed to give you a broad understanding of psychology, but also to develop your application skills as you will apply what you have learned from Paper 2 in the approaches and research methods sections to the 4 different topics. Social influence is a branch of social psychology and looks at why people conform and why people obey. In the memory topic, this is a branch of cognitive psychology, and you will consider different models of memory and why we remember some things and forget others. Attachment is an example of child psychology and considers how important early attachment relationships are for future development. And in the final topic on Paper 1, psychopathology, you will study a range of atypical disorders. So, for example, obsessive compulsive disorder, or you might have heard of it as OCD. We also study depression and phobias. And what we do is we apply the knowledge we've learned from approaches to explaining these different disorders and how best we should treat them. Finally, in year 13, you will study paper 3. Now, this paper is partly synoptic, which I'll explain in a minute. First of all, we will look at 3 other fascinating topics. So we look at gender, schizophrenia, and forensic psychology. And again, some great topics here. Gender, we look at the differences between males and females and why males and females, apart from the obvious anatomical differences, why their behaviour might be different. Schizophrenia is another disorder in psychology that we'll look at, a really fascinating but quite traumatic disorder in which people lose touch with reality. And again, we will look at causes and explanations and also ways of treating schizophrenia. Forensic psychology, great subtopic. We look at how we profile offenders, and we look at reasons why people actually commit crime and ways of dealing with offenders. The final topic we look at is called issues and debates, and this is a synoptic topic. In this module, we'll consider some of the key debates in psychology, such as whether behaviour is determined by nature or nurture, and you will apply some of the topics you've learned in other modules to the debate. So, for example, in forensic psychology, nature, are people born criminals, or nurture, is it the result of a person's environment? So in the issues and debates topic, we are looking at the key debates in psychology and drawing on what you have previously learned in the other topics. How are you assessed in psychology? There are 3 2-hour exams that you will sit in the summer of 2023. Each exam is 2 hours long and consists of a range of multiple choice, short answer and essay questions of up to 16 marks. Each paper is equally weighted, which means they all count for 1/3 of the exam, 96 marks towards the final grade. As well as building up a range of exam skills, so you've got AO1, which is description, AO2, application of knowledge, and AO3, evaluation, you will also develop a broad range of transferable skills from studying psychology, such as critical analysis, independent thinking, and research skills. These are particularly relevant to further study and in the workplace. So the A-level course not only gives you a stimulating and engaging introduction to the study of psychology, but also combines this with the academic integrity and skills that universities and employers really value. What are the subject requirements then? Well, there are no specific entry requirements for psychology, apart from the point system you need to enter sixth form at BRGS. You also do not need to have taken GCSE psychology, as we teach the topic from scratch. Everyone starts at the same point, so the subject is open to everybody. So where can a A-level in psychology lead? Well, psychology provides an excellent foundation for many degree, further education courses and careers. You can see from this very detailed diagram that it really does enable you to study a broad range of subjects at university. Many of our students have gone on to study medicine, nursing, law, business, social work, computing, biology, etc., etc. Any subjects really that you could study whereby you've got an interest in human behaviour. Psychology, it really will prepare you for understanding why people behave the way they do. If you are interested in doing a degree in psychology, you can actually go on to specialise and do a master's or a PhD to become a psychologist. And there's various different types of areas of psychology you could go into. For example, clinical psychologists who work in hospitals with patients who are clinically ill. You could look at educational psychology, who help students within schools to learn more effectively. A broad range of career opportunities. Thank you for listening to our short presentation, and if you've got any further questions, please do look out for our interactive Q&A session. Thank you very much.